I'm Safietou Russell from SDR Consulting, Inc., and we're here today on Business Basics Friday. The goal of this session is to provide some value to small business owners in the space of tax, accounting, and general business, and then have an open Q&A at the end.
So happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Business Basics Friday. I hope all is well with you. If you are here live, go ahead and comment in the chat where you're joining from. Here in New York, it's 61 degrees and fall is upon us, October 21st, 2022. So once again, if you're here live, go ahead and join us. Tell us where you're joining us from, and welcome again. We're going to go ahead and get started. And so if you're new to this session, welcome to Business Basics Friday. I'm Safietou Russell, CEO and founder of SDR Consulting, Inc. And Business Basics Friday is a weekly session catered to providing valuable information to business owners. We have a variety of guest speakers that come in and help share information and educate you on the many areas of your business that you need to manage. Just as a disclosure, this is strictly for education and information purposes only. No client relationship is being established or specific advice for your situation. SDR is not liable for any use of information provided today. And so a little bit about myself. I've been in the industry 20 years, and I'm a CPA and enrolled agent, and also have a master's in taxation. And SDR Consulting, Inc. is a virtual firm based in New York, but we do service clients all over the US. And we mostly work with business owners, especially those in the mental health profession, to help reduce their concerns regarding tax and accounting so you can focus on your clients and your own well-being. So today, if you do have questions, feel free to post them in the comments if you're here on Facebook Live, or if you're here listening in on Clubhouse. I'm going to try to manage all of that on the back end, and we will definitely go over that at the end. And so right now, I want to go ahead and introduce our guest speakers for today. And so we have Mattis and Alise with Relay Financial to cover business banking one-on-one. So Mattis and Alise, feel free to take it away. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. And it's a real pleasure to be here. We're super excited to go into the business banking 101 with you. I know that for a lot of business owners, really it's a big question around what to do when it comes to business banking or just banking in general. So for those of you who are tuning in with the visuals, I'm just going to share my screen with some supporting information. And Alise, can you confirm you can see my screen okay?
I can. And hi, everybody. My name's Alise. I am a product specialist at Relay. I am so excited to be here today. And yeah, we're excited to have everybody.
Okay, amazing. So just before we begin, as I said, my name is Mattis, and a little bit about Relay. We are a business banking platform that serves small businesses throughout America, specifically, and I'll be going through kind of the first section of the presentation, and then Alise, who helps small business owners with banking every single day, is going to dive a little bit deeper into some of the nuances there, and then give us a demonstration of the platform as well. So we're really excited to share this with you today. Here's what we're going to be talking about. First of all, we'll talk about whether you actually need a business banking account or not. It's a question that a lot of people have, especially as they're starting out. Then we're going to take a look at some of the types of bank accounts that you might encounter throughout your business journey. You're going to get an overview then of what types of documents you would need to open one up. And then Alise is going to give us a demo of the platform. We'll introduce Relay to you as one option that you might want to consider. And then also, just before that demo, we are going to have a Q&A. So feel free to let us know any questions that you might have. Before we dive in, I think there was already a disclaimer, but just going to reiterate, the following presentation is intended as a general overview. So it's going to help you get familiar with what's available in business banking, but it's not intended as advice that's specific to your business. And you should consult your own individual advisor before making any decisions, because your business is unique to you. So with that said, let's start by thinking about whether and why you might want a banking account that is specifically meant for small businesses. A good place to start with this is to actually highlight one of the really common mistakes that business owners make, especially when they're first starting out. And that is treating your business banking and thinking about it in the same way that you do with your personal banking. A lot of us have had our personal bank accounts, many of us since we were kids, and we don't really think about them too much, right? After all, what is a bank? It's a place where you put money, where you receive payments, where you send payments. There's nothing more to it, right? Well, in truth, you actually need to consider very different things when thinking about your business finances as opposed to your personal finances. And by extension, that also means that you need to treat your business banking very differently. When it comes to business finances, you have to be a lot more diligent than when it comes to your business finances because the implications can be much bigger. And your banking ultimately is like the financial nerve center of your business. It's where you're going to go to make day-to-day decisions. You're going to pay bills. You're going to get your receivables in there. You're going to set aside money for taxes and so on and so forth. It is going to be the single source of truth for the financial operations in your business. And so the transactions in your bank statement are going to matter a lot. And you want to have clarity and visibility into those transactions separately from your personal finances, because you're going to want them to get you more visibility into your cash flow. And when it comes to businesses, when it comes to small business especially, I'm sure we've all heard the phrase, cash is king. But this is also a place where a lot of businesses struggle. And it's also a place where having those clear, separate finances can really help. And in fact, we know that small businesses need help in this area. Recent data from Intuit actually shows that as many as 63% of small businesses don't really know exactly how much money is coming into their business every month. A lot of this does come down to commingling of finances. And you might also assume if you don't know exactly what's coming in, chances are you don't know what bills you need to pay always, and you don't have that clear picture of your financial standing. So we're going to dive into this a little bit further, but before we get to it, a lot of people actually wonder, okay, but am I required to have a business bank account? Do I need this? Well, let's think through and look at what the IRS says. So starting with, if you have an LLC or a corporation, you probably already know this, but we're going to reiterate, your business is considered a separate legal entity. And as a result, you're required to keep separate accounting and bookkeeping records. And having a separate business bank that directly communicates to your accounting or bookkeeping system makes that record keeping so much easier, faster, and you're going to love this, a lot less expensive. Moreover, all of the assets that are owned by your LLC or corporation belong to that LLC or corporation. And that means it needs to have its own account to protect you from any kind of commingling and protect you from liability. So that's LLCs and corporations. But if you're a sole proprietor, does that mean you're sort of like off the hook and can just do whatever you want? Well, so in truth, you're not required by the IRS to have a separate business bank account as a sole proprietor. However, the IRS explicitly does recommend that you still get a separate account to keep your personal and business expenses separate. So what are some of those reasons for why it's still recommended? Why is it a good idea? Why should you still try to do this? So here are the key things that we look at and we think about for why you might want a dedicated business bank account, even if you are not explicitly required to have one. So first of all, as already mentioned, you're going to have a much easier time with bookkeeping and just having visibility into your day-to-day financials. If you're not commingling business with personal expenses, you're going to have to, if you are commingling business and personal expenses, you're going to have to spend time separating out which transaction is your business, which transaction is your personal. That is a lot of administrative work that you probably really don't want to do. And if you're paying somebody to do it, it's also, the costs are going to add up, right? You just want to know in a single account that everything is related to your business, and a different account, everything is related to your personal expenses. Next up, you are going to want to appear more professional as your business grows and as you become more established. And a separate, dedicated business banking account helps you do that. Even if you're running your business as a sole proprietor, DBA, doing business as, having that account with your business name is going to make you look a lot more credible to your customers and vendors, as opposed to just using your own personal name. Next up, and this is a big one, some banks really don't like it when you start using your personal bank account for your business. So this is, again, going to be really bank dependent, but it's going to be likely written in their terms of service. And if they notice that you're having transactions go through your personal account, there's a chance that your account will get restricted or shut down, and that's going to create a lot of problems for you down the line. So you want to avoid that right away. Next up, as your business grows especially, you may end up needing advanced banking features. We're going to look at that a little bit later, that your personal bank account simply isn't going to support. So one common example, let's say you bank with Relay, you're going to have a direct integration with QuickBooks Online and Xero accounting software, as well as integrations with other softwares. Chances are with your personal banking, you're not going to have those types of integrations and you're not going to have those types of features, which again, for your back office and your business administration, you really want to have. Additionally, if you're thinking about raising funds or getting a loan eventually, having that separate account is going to help you get prepared for due diligence. So once you approach investors, if they want to take a look at your finances, you want that separate account. You don't want to approach them and then say, hey, here are kind of all my personal monthly expenses as well, along with my business expenses. And finally, and this is a big one, even if you're a sole proprietor right now, maybe eventually you are going to want to form an LLC or a corporation, and having everything already in a separate business account means that you're not going to have to go through the pain of transferring everything over, setting up new payments, stuff like that. So basically, in short, it is highly, highly recommended that as soon as you start operating and transacting, you open up that business bank account. And so it's a lot to consider. Now, I briefly want to go over some of the different types of accounts that you might encounter as you run your business and what each is associated with. So first up, you have your business checking accounts. This is very similar to a personal account, but usually with some additional functionality tacked on top of that. And this is also, just to be explicit, what Relay is and where we focus. You might also run into savings accounts for businesses. Again, these function similarly to your personal accounts, I should say, but some might have higher minimum balance requirements. You also may run into things like money market accounts, certificate of deposit accounts. These are ways to generate interest on your funds. With money market accounts, there's a little bit more flexibility where you can take money out. With certificate of deposit accounts, you need to kind of lock them into an FDIC insured account for a longer period of time. You also may have heard of merchant accounts. So this is ultimately if you want to accept credit cards for your business. Usually, if you're using a service like PayPal, Square, or Stripe, it will have that function already provided to you, and you don't necessarily need a completely separate merchant account. But just keep that in mind. If you're opening a business checking account and you're wondering, hey, can somebody just pay me there with a credit card? Doesn't exactly work that way. You need a merchant account separately. And finally, just so you know, if you hear about trust accounts, these are usually associated with maybe the legal profession or some specific scenarios where you're required to hold unearned income or like retainers in these accounts. So those are some of the common ones that you're going to run into in your business journey. What we're going to be focusing on today, again, is that business checking account, and just stress the importance of why even something as simple as that is important to think about it in a different context than your personal. So that's a lot to consider. Here are some of the things that you are going to want to think about when you're thinking about where do I actually get my personal, I should say my business checking account? What am I going to need it for? What are the issues that might arise in the future? So we have 12 things that we want to look at. That's a lot. I'm going to try to get through them as fast as possible for everybody. So first up, chances are you're going to want to do some banking remotely. In this day and age, like, you don't want to visit a branch for every little thing. Most banks are going to have some sort of online banking features, but you want to make sure you have a clear understanding of what extent those features cover. Like, can you do everything online? Do you need to walk into a branch for some things? Make sure you have a good understanding of that. Next up, and this is something that a lot of people learn as they transition from personal banking to business banking, you want to understand exactly what the fee structure is like. Are you required to maintain a minimum balance in your account in order to continue using it? Are there monthly fees associated with it? It's very different when it comes to business banking than what you're used to with personal banking. So make sure that you ask a lot of questions before you commit to something. After this, and it's something, again, that a lot of new business owners tend to overlook, is understanding what is the data quality that you get with your business bank. Going back to this idea of maintaining clear records for your business, the data quality is really going to matter. If you're looking at bank statements and you don't understand what those transactions are, it is going to take you a lot more time to maintain your bookkeeping. Afterwards, a big important feature to evaluate is understanding how collaboration is going to work with your business bank account, right? Again, if you're used to personal banking, chances are you don't really share that information with anybody. You just use it on your own. But in a business, you know that you're going to have to collaborate with other people, whether that's your accountant, whether it's your lawyer, whether it's your business partner, investors, anybody else. You're going to have to provide some information at some point. And you want to ask yourself the question, do I need to send them my login details, or is there a way for me to collaborate with this person securely? Then, especially as your business grows, you want to know that you're going to be able to issue multiple cards for your team. That's going to be a big one. It's not necessarily relevant to everybody, but if you're looking to grow a bigger business, you are going to want to manage those finances through different team members. And you'll also want to know what kind of payments you can make and receive. So believe it or not, there are stories out there of people opening up an account with a major bank and then later learning that, for example, they can't accept international wires. So you really want to understand exactly what kind of payments you can make and receive. And then if you're thinking about getting a loan, it's good to also consider what options your bank can provide. In full transparency here at Really, we do not currently offer business loans, but if that's something that you're looking into, you should address it with the bank. Next up, security is huge. Does your bank offer basic things like two-factor authentication? Can you freeze cards in the event of a breach? It's your money after all, so you want to make sure that you're keeping it safe. And after that, this is another component to security. You want to make sure that your bank is an FDIC insured institution. FDIC insurance, just so we're clear, it's going to protect your money up to $250,000 in the event of bank failure, basically the bank going out of business. One thing to understand is FDIC insurance is actually not a legal requirement by default. So that means your bank might not have it. Most banks do, but it's really important to double check to ensure your money is protected. And a couple of final things to consider, really, you want to understand what your bank is going to integrate with, what are the systems available to you and how easy it is to work with those integrations. And this last one is obvious, but it's really, really worth calling out. Understand how customer service works in your bank. Like that is the number one thing that you want to know. This is where you're going to keep your money. If something happens and you need help, you want to make sure that you're able to reach people. So do your research, ask a lot of questions, and have a really good grasp of how all of that is going to work. So those are the 12 features. That was a lot. I'm going to throw one more thing at you, which is that you're going to want to decide whether you're using business banking primarily in a traditional institution or whether you're doing it digitally, or maybe both. You could have both. There's no harm in foul in opening multiple accounts. A quick glance, very briefly, about the differences. With a traditional brick and mortar bank, this is something that you're probably used to with your personal banking. You're going to be walking into a branch to apply for an account. You're going to have a lot of options when it comes to financing. This is going to be where you are going to want to bank if you're making a lot of cash deposits, specifically because of the ubiquity and availability of branches. Chances are it's also where you might already have a personal bank account. However, as mentioned earlier, with business banking, chances are you're going to face some minimum balance requirements or larger fees. And then on the other hand, with digital banking, as the name suggests, these are online accounts, so no physical branches. You're going to likely be able to apply for an account much faster be faster just because there are no physical branches and the application is completely online. These are also digital businesses, so think in terms of software, there are probably going to be advanced money management features available to you, unlike with some of the traditional banks. Online banking platforms also don't have those physical branches, so they're not the best if you're trying to make a lot of cash deposits. But then on the other hand, usually these platforms, really included, have no fees, or some have very minimal fees. So it's a much more cost-effective option for people. Okay, so now that we have kind of a rough idea and understanding, an overview of business banking, I just want to quickly talk about what are the things that you need to open an account. And we're going to take a look at all beneficial owners, what they need. A beneficial owner, for context, is somebody who owns 25% or more of the business. What do you need to provide, and then what information you need to provide about the business itself. So I'll quickly go through documents required for beneficial owners. You are going to want to provide your photo of a government issued ID. Also, just for some context, this is for Relay if you're applying online. Different institutions might have different requirements, but generally speaking, this is the type of information that most institutions are going to collect. So again, for us, it's a photo of a government issued ID, a social security number or a passport number if you are a foreign applicant, a personal address, your position and title, the personal and business phone numbers, as well as an email address. And then depending on whether you're running a sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC or corporation, there are going to be different requirements there. So sole proprietors is actually not that much information is needed. We would need your doing business as information if there is one, your employer identification number or EIN, or your social security number, SSN, and then a US business address and phone number. When it comes to general partnerships, again, the EIN is required. This is going to be a very common word that you're going to hear for the next couple of minutes. The EIN verification letter is also required for general partnerships, a partnership registration form, company bylaws, and again, a US business address and phone number will be needed. So I have those forms prepared. For single member LLCs, again, that EIN, the verification letter for the EIN, again, a business address and phone number, and also your articles of organization or your certificate of formation. For corporations, again, you're going to see that EIN and the requirement for the verification letter for that EIN, articles of incorporation, for bylaws, as well as a business address and phone number. And finally, for all applicants, we are going to ask for a video verification. So this is just you recording a quick video from your phone saying that you authorize the opening of an account with Relay Financial. So a lot of people want to know kind of why do we ask for all of this information? Well, a couple of really, really important reasons. One is it keeps people safe from nefarious actors. Like you don't want people just opening accounts in your name. Next, the account opening is faster. When we have all this information ready to go, people can get quickly verified and the account is ready and running very, very speedily. And then also, it's just an easier onboarding for all of the beneficial owners to submit their information online and have it on file. They do need to have all of their information ready in order to bank with us. So I know that was a lot. Before we dive into a little bit of what is Relay, Alise, anything to add on the application process?
I think you did a great job, Mattis. We'll see if anybody has questions, but you did amazing.
Okay, got it. Thanks, Alise. So going to quickly talk about what Relay is, and then we'll have a Q&A, and then Alise is going to give us a demo of the platform. If you are tuning in through audio, there should be a link where you can visit Relay's website to learn more about the platform. Otherwise, we will be showing you some of it through the video stream. So what is Relay quickly? Relay is an online banking and money management platform specifically built for small businesses to put you in control of your cash flow. So a couple of things that we are really proud of, sort of just even as a starting point. You get an account that truly keeps you secure, both you and your finances. It's an FDIC insured account up to $250,000 per business. Your cards are protected by MasterCard's zero liability policy, and you get role-based user permissions. You can invite multiple people to the account and give them read-only access or change their access levels, and accounts are protected by two-factor authentication. But then beyond that, you get a lot above and beyond the banking basics. So you're able to open up to 20 checking accounts with no fees and no minimums. You can simplify expense management with dedicated cards and set spending limits on those cards. Again, you can securely collaborate with advisors and your team members. You can send all types of payments, ACH, wire, check payments, and that's both from desktop and mobile. Our data at Relay, we're really, really proud of this. It's deeply detailed. So with every transaction, you get information around the vendor industry category, you get information around where that transaction, where the business is registered for that transaction, as well as things like the phone number for the business, the website. So it's really easy to understand sort of what is happening at a transaction level. And then we have a lot of advanced accounts payable features as well. But enough on that. I know we may have some questions there, so I'm going to jump into the Q&A and take it from there. Safi?
Hello. Yes. Thank you, Mattis. That was amazing. And we are going to go ahead and open up for Q&A. Let me go ahead and find myself on the screen here. Give me 1 second. There we go. So we're going to open up for a brief Q&A and any commentary. And then if you don't have any questions, we are going to move on to the demo portion of Relay Financial. So for those of you listening into audio, feel free to hop over to SDR Consulting Inc. Facebook page and watch the demo. We're going to go ahead and also share, contact information and such, so that if you do have to hop off, you'll know how to reach Relay and myself as well. And what I want to kind of just mention is going back to the commingling, because that's a big thing, right? The commingling of funds. And what that really means is you using your personal account for business transactions, or vice versa, using your business account for personal transactions. How do you avoid that? Number one, of course, having the separate business account and only having your business transactions in that account. I get the question often of, okay, what is really commingling? Like, how do I, if I don't have money in my business account, how do I then make purchases, right? What you would want to do in that situation is take money from your personal account, deposit it into your business account, or transfer it into your business account, and then make your purchases. And this way you're not commingling the business transactions in your personal account. And also vice versa, if you have profit in your business account and you want to buy things personally, transfer the money out to yourself personally, write yourself a check. Most people are not using checks anymore, but you want to have a clean trail between the business and yourself, and you and the business. Those funds going back and forth are equity investments and equity withdrawals, depending on the type of entity you have. They're not going to be income or expenses. But if you don't keep it separate, that's where the commingling occurs. All right. Also, something that I commonly hear is, in the beginning of your business, you may not have the business account at first. Okay, obviously, right. You need those things to set up the business account. So when you're starting your business, some of the startup costs you may have incurred may be on your personal account. And there are ways to account for those expenses to ensure you still get the benefit for them. But there's going to be, that grace period of when you're setting up your business until you have the account, and that's normal. So not to worry about that. And then paying yourself, same thing, depending on your business structure determines how you should be paying yourself. But ideally, you want to be transferring money from the business account into your personal account. If you're an S corporation, C corp for tax purposes, you should be set up on payroll and paying yourself through a payroll service. But also, if you do take distributions or dividends, you can do that transfer as well. So try to avoid cash transactions, which is even more of a reason why a digital banking platform is great for a good trail, because it's hard to know where that cash went. Okay, so I hope that answers some of the top questions that I've gotten. You guys probably get it all the time as well. And let me check if there are any questions here. Not seeing any yet. It was very thorough, so I'm sure everyone's good to go. And the only other thing I will mention is Mattis mentioned bookkeeping. And so the bookkeeping starts from your business accounts, right? Bookkeeping is tracking all the income and expenses applicable to your business, helps you understand how your business is doing, making important decisions, how much you have available to pay yourself, all those important decisions, how much taxes you need to pay, how much money you need to put to the side, what do you need to pay for quarterly taxes? All those questions stem from bookkeeping, which stems from your banking. Okay, so if you do need assistance in the area of bookkeeping, getting everything back on track, connecting with Relay, feel free to connect with me. I'm Safie Russell, founder and CEO of SDR Consulting Inc. You can find me online at sdrconsultinginc.com, social media at SDR Consulting, and by phone at 516-255-6603. If you're here live or watching the replay, you can check the comments for the link for Relay Financial, which will get you a faster onboarding experience. So feel free to use that link if you're interested in moving forward with Relay Financial. So Mattis and Alise, if you want to share anything before we head into demo, go ahead and you can do that.
Yeah, the only thing that I really wanted to share was just add on to what you were saying about commingling. In a past life, I did spend some time working in an accounting firm, and like I just want to make it clear to people, like we see it constantly. Like you might think that maybe you don't feel great because you started a small business and you're commingling right now, but I've seen businesses with like huge transactions and volume where the founders are still commingling. And just like to make one thing clear, like it gets really expensive trying to separate those things out, and expensive not just in terms of the amount of money that you have to pay, to have somebody sort that out, but just in terms of time and the back and forth of like, what was this transaction for? What was this transaction for? It's not pleasant. So I highly recommend opening a separate business bank account for tracking your for personal and business expenses separately. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one more thing, audit risk. Audit risk. Let's throw that in there and we'll go into the demo. Yeah. If you're ever audited, God forbid, right? The IRS wants to see your bank accounts, hopefully your business accounts, right? Where are your business transactions? If they find that they're all over the place in your personal accounts and your business accounts, guess what? Now all of your personal accounts are going to be looked at. You have to now explain every dollar going in and out, personal and business. So if you have everything in one place in a business account, hopefully the audit is limited to just that one account, and it's easier to explain, because I've seen it personally, and when you're trying to identify your paycheck deposits from your W-2 job and your business deposits and your personal expenses and business expenses, the IRS doesn't have time for that, and you risk a lot of things maybe being reclassified incorrectly. So last point on that, I think we drove that home. Let's get a separate account. So let's find out more about Relay Financial's platform, and we'll wrap it up. Okay, go ahead. You can take it away, Alise.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's have a look at Relay. We're going to do a high-level overview of what Relay looks like. I just want to, my own little disclaimer, there are so many features on Relay, so we're just going to get into the basic features, but just know that there's so much more. If you're interested, you can always reach out to me or Mattis, and we can let you know a little bit more about Relay. But at a high level, the most important thing to know about Relay is that all core banking features on Relay are completely free. So as Mattis mentioned, that's no fees, no minimum balances, no monthly account fees. And of course, we are FDIC insured up to $250,000. So most important thing on the bank feed here, I just want to show how we provide that detailed transaction data that Mattis was talking about. So let's just say you deposited a check at Relay. If you click into the check, you're going to get the check image, you're going to get a memo about that check. So just going to give you lots of good information about that transaction. Moving down here, we can see that there's a couple MasterCard debit card transactions. Very similar. We're actually providing you with something called enriched data here, where we're augmenting the information that you're receiving about this transaction. So you're going to get information like the category, phone number, website, address, map location for that merchant, all with the idea that we're just trying to make it so easy for you to do your reconciliation, to have all these separate expenses and just jog your memory quickly on any transactions that are being created. Moving on to accounts, you can see I have multiple accounts here. This is how you can separate out different types of expenses for your business account. You can save up for taxes here. Again, you can have up to 20 free checking accounts with Relay. It's as easy as just selecting this add account option and creating an account here. These are all true checking accounts. So you have your own account and routing number for each of these checking accounts. And it's great to get these set up earlier on in your business, start kind of separating out all of your expenses and getting organized. Again, it's amazing for bookkeeping down the line. Now, Safi mentioned how it's important to add funds from your personal account if you need some funds to cover expenses. With Relay, we make that super easy. Just up here in the add money option, you can connect to your personal bank and pull funds into your business bank. We connect to 100% of US banks. So that makes it super easy for you to pull some funds in, use those on an as needed basis. And then of course, we make it super easy for you to download your statements. Just under the statements tab here, you can download your statements in different file formats for different accounts. And that's going to give that official stamp of a true business checking account. Maybe that'll help you down the line if you're applying for an investor, you need an investor to help you out. It just makes it that much more official. Looking at cards, you can have multiple cards on Relay. Maybe that's not a need when you're just getting started, but once you start, having maybe some employees, maybe you'll want to add on some additional cards here. You can have up to 50, and they can be either physical or virtual, and they all are insured under MasterCard's zero liability policy. And this is going to be a great way for you to start making purchases for your business and separating out those purchases. Again, because it's free and it's really just as easy as selecting that plus button and issuing a card to your business. You can start using it right away. We also try to make it really easy for you to be in control of changing any details required. You can change limits here. You can also freeze your card, change your PIN. So you don't have to do any of that you don't have to call into a support line or anything like that. You can just do that all yourself, which is amazing. Now, moving on to team. This is where you can invite on any team members. So this is going to be, let's just say you start having somebody who's helping you out with the business. You can invite them on with an email. As the owner, you get to decide their permission level. So it's whatever they might be required. Again, remember, just making this super secure, having everybody have their own separate login. It really streamlines all of the operations. And then if you ever had, a financial advisor, bookkeeper, anyone like that, it's going to be very similar. You can invite them on with a permission level that you decide. Now, going down to settings, this is where you can configure your account. So any additional details about your account, if you need to change any of this. If you have any additional businesses down the line, you can actually have additional businesses all under one single logon. So it just makes it super easy to switch between business accounts and separate out each of your businesses. And then down here under integrations, this is what Mattis mentioned. As your business starts to grow, maybe you want to include some integrations. And we've got lots of options that you can integrate with just to make things a little bit more streamlined. Now, the last thing I wanted to show is under payments here. So this is where you can go to make outgoing payments. This is where you should go to pay yourself or pay anybody else that you might need to pay. And we have all of these different payment methods here. We've got ACH, wire, international wire, check payments. You can make these recurring and you can pull the funds from a specific account. Now, one more thing that I want to touch on is the ability to get support at Relay, because we are an online institution. So it's going to be important that it's super easy for you to get in touch with our customer support team. Let's just say you need something. It's just down here under support. You can contact us. We've got phone, we've got email. And then the one other great thing is you can always chat with us just down in the corner here. It's a real person on the other side. Just super excited to help you out. So that's a quick demo of Relay. I'm going to end it there, but just let us know if you have any questions. We'd be happy to share more information or go a little bit more in depth. And I'll pass it back to you, Mattis or Safi.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Alise.
Thank you, Alise. That was quick, but very thorough. I think we had a chance to get a good idea of the features available through Relay. I've always learned something new as well. And it's been fun playing around with the software, but definitely in working with an advisor, a tax professional, bookkeeper, so much more of a streamlined process with this digital type of bank structure than some of the traditional banks. And getting statements, getting clarity on transactions, and doing it in a secure manner. So I really enjoy that part of it as well. And so we're going to definitely wrap it up. I think this was a great session. If you're here live, got some value from it, definitely feel free to comment below in the Facebook chat, or if you're watching the replay, I know many people will be catching the replay, and great content. So Alise and Mattis, thank you again for being a guest speaker today. If you're here live, Alise and Mattis have their contact information here on the screen, and you can definitely reach out to them with any questions. And once again, the link to Relay for the faster onboarding experience is in the comments. And if you do have any questions for me personally regarding online banking and bookkeeping, you can feel free to reach out to me directly. So we're going to wrap it up. Once again, Safi Russell, founder and CEO of SDR Consulting, and today we covered business banking one-on-one. We got some thank yous coming in from the comments, and Alise and Mattis, if you want to share anything as we wrap up, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we will say goodnight, and everyone have a happy Friday.
Thank you, everybody. So nice to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Really, really appreciate you having us on. So have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great one, everyone. Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.